Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Pretend Problems podcast. I'm Kelsey Cook.
And I'm Steve Stevenson.
Is that what you were thinking of before this?
I just always think those names are so weird.
Yeah.
When it's like the first part of the last name is also the first name.
Yeah. Do you know somebody with that name?
Confusing. I know Tommy Thompson.
Oh, interesting.
Very funny comedian. And Tommy Thompson used to be the governor of Wisconsin, which I thought.
Tommy Thompson,
Just
governor of Wisconsin.
Oh, that's like when Snoop met Sally from the Valley.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you're good.
Thank you.
We're at the cabin.
We're at the cabin. If you're watching on YouTube and it looks a little different, we're at the cabin right now. And, we okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
everything's great.
Just breaking shit immediately.
Uh-huh.
If you want to know what we did right before we pressed record, we did a booger check on each other. So
We did.
we just want to keep it real fresh and real profesh for you guys.
Fresh and profesh, Tommy Thompson, governor of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Whoa, you're blowing my fucking mind right now.
I'm fucking killing it. I'm Kelsey. I'm killing it.
Okay. So it's windy.
Hey.
It's very good. It's a shitty day at the lake. So we're recording a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be a little different quality because we're recording on my iPhone.
Yeah.
Because we normally have a camera set up back at the house. And we don't have it here. So we're going to do this and give you a lovely look at the knotty pine. And oh, boy, is it knotty. That felt very David Letterman-ish.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things he ever used to say was, I don't know if that's a sentence, but he used to say, coming to theaters in a
Coming to where?
Coming to, oh, fuck.
Where are they coming to?
I can't remember what he said, but it's like, coming to a theater in a town near you. And he goes, no. Coming to select cities. That's what he'd say.
Okay.
He'd announce the movie and he'd go, and it's opening in select cities. And then he'd stop everything and he'd look at the camera and go, my God, do I hope your city has been selected. Every single time. I thought it was so funny.
I love that.
Yeah.
I also love how fast you say theater after I make fun of
Theater.
you. Going in theater. So this is actually great because it leads into a couple things. I owe you 2 different apologies to start this episode off.
Well,
because
I can't
of last
imagine that, but okay.
Well, because of last episode.
Okay.
The people of the podcast have spoken. And I would also like to say I really appreciate our listeners because you guys correct us so respectfully. Like it's true.
You were corrected?
Yes, by many people.
Oh, well this feels a little like cruise control.
I know. And now, are there some shit dicks out there who talk to us in a not super nice way? Yeah. But I feel like the vast majority of our listeners, the emails you sent about Chad trying to pass the truck, the YouTube comments you left, the YouTube comments you left about the French pronunciation of crepe.
Oh.
So
I just want to hear things.
So Chad Stephen Daniels, I'm sorry.
Hold on.
I'm sorry that I told you that you pronounced crepe wrong because apparently the true French pronunciation of the word is crepe, the way you said.
Okay.
There is an accent mark over the E, the middle E
Looks
on the
like
word.
a rooftop.
Looks like a little party hat. That's
A
what my
little
mom
rooftop.
would say in French
Okay.
class. And it's, God damn it, now I already forgot what it's called. I think it's an accent concentrate, like but I had mixed it up with an accent aigu, which is the little line that goes up. And that's
true.
usually what would make an E sound like an A, like how I thought the French pronunciation of crepe is.
Okay.
But in that case, it is not. And I'm very sorry
It's okay.
that I really was like,
It's
pushed my
okay.
glasses up and said, hey, you're wrong, because apparently I was wrong.
That's all right. And it's no surprise you don't know what that accent is called because you don't even get the easy ones right in French. Sick burn. I'm teasing. Thank you for, obviously don't need to apologize to me. I mean,
No.
I have a little bit of a cheat because my daughter Olivia, her skating coach is from Quebec. And so she's French Canadian, and a lot of times Olivia, when she stays overnight there, will have crepes. And then they tell me about that. And so I just assume that's how you said it. I just,
You're right.
kind of
You're
a cheat code.
Well, it turns out I've been saying it the American way, which is crepe. And
just in time for 4th of July, brother!
Yeah.
Crepes for everybody! Ain't that something?
So it's funny because we were going to make a clip out of that whole interaction where you were like, oh, are there other things I mispronounced? Like, is Nutella go fuck yourself? Or whatever you said to me.
Yeah, I don't know either.
And I actually can't go fuck myself because
No, let's not do that. I mean, big deal.
Yeah, obviously it's a small thing. But anyway, I was wrong about that. And we got an overwhelming amount of emails and comments about...
I'm so nervous. It's like Christmas morning.
about you passing the truck and that you were in the right and I was wrong. I was wrong to be telling you that I think you should have let him in front of you.
Okay.
Pretty much every email we got about it was like, that truck needed to wait for you to pass. And that was like a shit move that he still tried to get into the left lane once you were already entered into his space. So
I will also say, though, that although that happens 1% of the time, it clearly happens. And we were in harm's way.
Yeah.
And so it was just a shitty thing for everybody to have to deal with.
Yeah.
Except that guy with his fucking giant truck that won't be hurt if a car hits it.
Yeah, for real. So
I gotta tell you, it was tough for me to not drop you off at an exit and then go find that motherfucker and try to pull him over. I probably would have gotten thumped. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like truck drivers, they're strong dudes, probably been in tons of fights, right?
Probably, yeah.
I mean, shit.
Yeah.
When there's one little tiny rock of meth left,
yeah.
How are you not going to fist fight over it?
Tell him Large Marge sent you.
I know that not all truckers do meth. That was clearly a joke, but
you know what's funny? That scene in Pee Wee Herman actually used to really scare me. No shock there.
We just talked about this on our walk, and I know we've brought it up before, but it's something that's interesting. You grew up in a quiet home, so loud scares you.
Yeah.
Raising a voice scares you. Yeah. Like I have told you, we've been talking before and you're like, you're yelling. And I go, oh, this is not yelling. Like I didn't even inhale to say this. When I yell, trust me, it is a fucking, I will huff and puff and blow
my hair blows back.
I mean, truly, it's like a, da, da, da. I mean, that's yelling, right? And so to me, because you grew up and noise scares you. I grew up in a loud home where it was always at a 9. Like it started at a 9. And so silence terrifies the shit out of me. When people just go, when they get real quiet and they go, yeah, okay, maybe I'll think about it. Sometimes you do that. You get real quiet and you're like, I'm just going to collect my thoughts. And I'm like, are your thoughts knives? Because what the fuck, man? I'm terrified right now.
Terrified.
So, yeah, I think we're just, different strokes for different folks. But the thing is about, I know, just to go back.
Yeah.
I agree. There is no way that dude should have moved over. But he did. So there is and I was being very careful. As I stated, hit the gas to make sure I could not make him wait. And then immediately hit the brakes. And I don't know if I said this last week, but the amount of things that can go through the human brain in a millisecond, did I say that? It's unbelievable.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because I immediately saw all my angles and everything I needed to do. I checked behind me to make sure I wasn't going to hit my brakes and the car was going to hit me. Checked how much room I had on the shoulder, made sure there wasn't a railing coming, made sure I had room on. It was fucking crazy that the brain just goes dun 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 dun, and all of a sudden all that shit.
The slow-mo matrix, all of that.
Yeah. You know what I think we should do with children is we should have them doing their math or whatever subject they're having trouble with, and then almost kill them in a car accident. I think they'd get it.
Right before the SATs.
I think they'd get it.
Lock it in. Yeah, I'll probably read a couple of the emails later about the truck stuff, but that was the consensus from people, was that you were right to have gone. It is the truck driver's responsibility to let people go by before, like, everybody's like, just because he has his turn signal on doesn't mean he just gets to do that. Like, he does have to fully wait. But there were also a lot of people within those emails saying, but I also get why Kelsey would be so terrified. Like, that's a super scary thing.
Completely agree.
And I think because sometimes in the past you have been more of an aggressive driver, to me, I think my brain categorized it in that. But
I really wasn't in a hurry, totally. And I wasn't doing any of that stuff. And I will also tell you, I see plenty of people that when they see a truck driver put their blinker on, they will slow down even out of their earned position.
Yeah.
And let them move over. And then it's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
What are you trying to gain favor with this truck driver? Is he going to buy you a giant donut in Clearwater? Get the fuck out of here, nerd.
Well, for me, I think they're intimidating. And one of the emails talked about just in terms of rules of the road versus rules of physics, where it's like, that truck will smush you in our car.
Oh, right.
I pull back because I'm just afraid of the truck. But.
And that makes total sense. I used to have a bit about that on one of my albums about my daughter always saying that, well, we're in a crosswalk. And I'm like, well, paint doesn't stop metal. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not a force field.
Yeah.
So I completely understand. It's like, you always have to have your head on a swivel. Also, one more thing that I did think when this whole thing was happening, and then we can put this to bed if you want, is that I thought if I had a car, I'd fit right underneath the trailer. Ooh. So I could have just sped up and went and let him come over, and then we'd have just been sitting there like a little kitty underneath a table.
Absolutely not. Oh my God. You would have never caught me in your car again. Like, I will drive myself everywhere.
That would have fucking ruled, and you know it. We just come out the other side, and everybody's like, what the fuck? Oh my God.
No.
I would have rolled my window down and just waved to everybody like I was in a parade. I did that. That was me.
The Vin Diesel of Minnesota.
You know it. The things I'm going to do for my country.
Well,
we had some visitors.
We did have some visitors, yes. And then I want to talk about my nightmares with Olivia, too.
Ooh, you want to start with that?
Sure, yeah. So Chad's daughter, Olivia, was here last week, and I had a nightmare in the night, and I had told Chad about it. I was like, God, it was just so creepy. There was like these women, and their heads were down almost with like a blue bonnet on, almost like Handmaid's Tale. But one of them was evil. Like, I could tell this was like some sort of ghost or whatever, just like a bad, evil energy. And in the nightmare, her name was Martha. So that's like all I could remember from that part of the nightmare. So I tell Chad that. And then we both come downstairs later, and Olivia starts telling Chad, I had this nightmare where there was this like evil woman sitting here at the table, and just all of my arm hair stood up, and I like looked at you and you looked at me, and she goes, oh God, what? Because immediately then it's like...
She really did. She's like, tell me what's going on.
Yeah. And I said, well, this is weird, but I also had a nightmare last night about this kind of evil seeming woman, and in the nightmare her name was Martha. And she's like, oh my God, there wasn't a name for the woman that I saw, but she was like here, and we were trying to figure out what time we both had our nightmare to figure out if there was like a haunting in the cabin or something weird. And
newsflash, there wasn't.
There wasn't, apparently. Then that night, the three of us decided to start watching the show Baby Reindeer.
So I think we should first tell why we're watching Baby Reindeer.
Okay.
Okay, so we started watching a show, The Bear, right? Mm-hmm. And Olivia was here, and we were like, we should all watch a show. And you had brought up The Bear. Mm-hmm. Now, I got rid of Hulu in lieu of YouTube TV, so we could have all the football games, so you could watch Seattle Seahawks.
Thank you.
And no, of course. Well, you made the move, and so it made sense to like make you as comfortable as possible. So that's why we switched. Mm-hmm. And then, and I say I did it, like we split it. Yeah. But I mean, we switched from Hulu to YouTube TV. And then I was like, oh shit, The Bear and Shogun. And there's a bunch of shows on Hulu that I wanted to watch. And so I got the very cheap version of Hulu. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I want to watch The Bear. So you brought it up, and I'm like, hell yeah. But then I go, here's the problem with watching shows with 3 people, a 3-person watch, is that you all have to be available.
Yep, you have to be at the same place, same time.
And that's tough because when you get into a show that is very bingeable, it's really hard for everyone to be around at the same time, especially her. She has a job this summer. She spends half the time with her mom, like all this stuff. She's got friends, whatever's going on. And so we start watching that. We watch 3 episodes and we are into it.
It's so good. Oh my God. If you are not watching The Bear, start watching The Bear. It's so good.
Yeah. And then the next night, Olivia goes over to her mom's relatives. And we're just sitting here and we fucking rock The Bear. We go from episode 3 to episode 8 in one sitting. At the end of episode 8, who comes marching in? It's Olivia. And she's like, fuck you two. You're fake and you're fake and everyone's fake. Poe, you're not fake. She really went for it.
She was not happy.
And she was not happy, and rightfully so, because she felt betrayed. Now, we talked about this later when she wasn't around. What a fantastic problem to have that your 20-year-old daughter really wants to watch a show with us.
Yeah.
So, it was great. So then, anyways, we settle on a new show, Baby Reindeer.
Yes. So we're watching Baby Reindeer, the 3 of us. And if you don't know, the plot, which is apparently based on a true story, is that there's a female stalker situation.
It's about time.
Of a bartender. And so this woman is like going into the bar, being kind of creepy, being kind of weird. And then the bartender goes, "What's your name?" And she goes, "Hi, I'm Martha." And I went, "Oh!" And I got up from my chair and I was like running laps. I almost pooped my panties. That was so fucking creepy. Olivia and I were both just freaking out. She had just had surgery in her mouth, and so she wasn't supposed to laugh. She was like, "Stop!" Like she didn't want to laugh hard. It was so weird. I mean, that's so fucking weird, right? That she and I both had these nightmares, same night, about this evil, creepy woman. In my dream, her name was Martha. And then we start watching a show together, the 3 of us. And the creepy woman in the show is named Martha. That's weird, because that's not like a common name. It's weird. You're so anti.
I'm not anti.
woo-woo,
I'm just telling you, when you
weird.
say it's not a common name and this show, Baby Reindeer, is based in England, I think Martha is fairly a fairly common name. I think if it was based in, I don't know, Morocco, and she was like, "I'm Martha," be like,
in
"Oh,
Morocco.
fuck.
Yeah.
That's trouble." Morocco, the French part of Africa where they eat crepes.
Oh boy.
Say boom, boom, boom. Let me hear you say boy. Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, you did.
I had to give it to you. That was very good.
No, thanks.
Goddamn puzzle brain. Shove it. So that happened. We had a good laugh. It was very creepy. And then like a week later, maybe not even, we're hanging out here and Olivia goes, "Kelsey, there's like this, have you heard of this trend on TikTok?"
I forgot all about this.
That's why I want to talk about it, because there's so much to it.
Heavens to Murgatroyd.
She goes, "Have you heard of that trend on TikTok where like if you open Instagram and you go to the people that are following you, whoever followed you most recently is somebody you would like actually probably be really good friends with in real life if you met them?" And I'm like, I mean, she's 20, so I'm thinking like, I don't know what this is, some fucking weird TikTok thing. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, no, I haven't heard about it." She's like, "You should like open your Instagram and see." And I'm like, okay. So I open and I click on the people who are following me. And the first one is this like random dude. And I'm kind of joking with her like, yeah, I don't think that whoever's like the most recent person is probably going to be somebody I would want to be friends with. I'm just like joking about sometimes the type of people who follow me on there. And she's like, "Oh, no, maybe like scroll down a little bit more." And I scroll down 3 more. And there's an account that says, "Hey, Kelsey, it's Martha." And the picture is this demon with blood coming out of its eyes. And I was like, what? oh, I start like shoving her and she's dying. She was like recording me, dying laughing.
Fuck. That is so
God.
funny.
So she like made a fake Instagram to prank me.
Holy shit.
I tried to find it again to like show a picture. She already deleted it.
That is
It was
legendary.
very funny. Yeah.
And she got that picture because we were watching a show called Manifest.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the scenes is, it's like the last scene, and I go, all right, when this episode's done, we're going to bed.
Yeah.
And this woman, blood starts coming out of her tear ducts. And she's like, oh my God, that is the thing that scares me the most, is blood coming out of eyes. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. And so then we get ready for bed. I go to my room. She goes to her room. And I find this picture of this white, face, white makeup, like geisha makeup.
Yeah.
And then blood coming out of the eyes. And I text it to her. And I probably texted it to her for the next 2 weeks at bedtime. It was so great.
That's so mean. That's so mean.
Well, but then she would text it back to me and we had some fun.
All right. Yeah, maybe you desensitized her. Just traumatized her into a point of submission.
Yeah, that's right. That's
I guess I'm not afraid of this anymore.
I said, say uncle.
Yeah, so she got me good. That was very funny.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I told her about when I was in middle school that there was like a scary trend going around. Did you ever have anything like that when you were growing up? Like a scary... Well, there wasn't...
You're saying I'm too old to...
Yeah, I don't know if there... Was there internet?
No. When I was growing up? Fuck no. But we did have Bloody Mary.
Oh, tell me.
I don't know. It's when you go in and you'd say Bloody Mary into a mirror 3 times. And then they were supposed to appear. So, of course, what would happen is...
I fucking hate shit like that so much. I hate it.
Someone would go into the stall and stand on the toilet. And then you
look at my arm hair.
Yeah,
I hate it. I hate that shit.
And then you go in there, and then they'd hold the door, of course, and you're like, okay, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody, and you'd wait, and then all of a sudden they start banging on the.
Thought I tried to freak you out. It didn't work.
No, they start banging on the stall, and then the other people would shut the lights off, and they'd hold the door shut.
Yeah.
And that's when you go full fucking panic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a little bit.
I knew there wasn't internet when you were growing up. I meant more like if people did that in high school to you.
Nope.
Why are you smiling?
Also didn't have internet in high school.
Really?
I mean, we had I had to watch a naked woman unfold line by line till I was in my mid-20s, I think.
Oh, fuck.
Like you'd click on a link and you'd be like, all right, I'm going to go take a bath, have dinner, and then I'm going to come back up and hopefully her nipples are showing.
Fuck, that's so funny.
That's also true.
Oh my God. Yeah, when I was in middle school, the one that was going around was, and I'm so gullible with this stuff. My 2 best friends were like, "Hey, we just found this thing on the computer. It's supposed to be like this funny thing, and it's just a room. It's just an image of a room." They're like, "You have to put your face kind of close to it, and then like something shows up. But you have to look pretty closely." And I was like, "Okay." And they're like, "No, like really get your nose." They're like, "Put your nose against the computer screen. You fucking bitches." Put your nose against the computer screen. I'm like, okay. I don't even realize that during that time they had turned the lights off and left the room. And all of a sudden, a ghost girl, like a dead ghost girl face, pops up full screen and screams. I almost flipped the chair I was in backward. I sprinted out of there like I was running for my life. I jumped on the couch. My mom called them. They got an earful. It was a whole thing because I was pretty upset. I was like hysterically crying. I can't handle that stuff.
Interesting. You shouldn't have told me that.
Don't. I'm serious.
You don't. Stop.
Chad?
Stop.
Stop.
Kelsey, stop. Little Kels. Stop.
Don't.
We'll see.
I mean it.
Look at her right now. And by the way, this is as loud as she gets when she's yelling. Which is fucking terrifying to me.
I've gotten loud.
That's true.
But I mean it.
I won't. I'm not going to do that shit to you. What scares me is a video where they're like, watch this guy hit the longest home run ever. And so you're watching, but the camera is a little low. So you're like, how the fuck am I going to see this? So you position yourself in a way to see the trajectory of the ball. And then it's a foul ball right into the camera. And that makes me almost flip over. That scary shit doesn't scare me. But when a ball when you don't expect it and it comes right to the screen and breaks the camera, that scares the shit out of me. That makes me flinch.
Yeah, that's a jolt for sure.
Definitely makes me jump.
Oh my gosh. Should we talk about family visiting? Do we have time?
Well, maybe we should save it. You want to save it?
Okay, sure.
We're 27.
Whoo-wee.
Girl, you know that's right. Well, probably 24 because I had to go yell at the dog.
Yeah. We're cruising, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, we'll save it. But we had both of our family visit us. And
they got to meet a meeting of the minds.
They got to meet. It was like when Jetsons meet the Flintstones. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Fuck it. Let's just do it.
Okay. Well, my dad and my stepmom came to town.
Uh-huh.
And it was awesome. We had such a good time. And we're big, both of us, you and I and my dad and stepmom, we're all big, like, games people.
Yeah,
we like to play board games, card games. And they're both so smart and so competitive. And I kind of realized...
That is very true.
Like maybe halfway into the games that when you were... Because we were playing games that they've never played.
Right.
So we had to teach them like 5 different games from scratch. And I could start to tell, I think especially with my dad, it's like, ooh, like this isn't maybe as enjoyable when you're trying to understand a game for the first time and you're playing against 2 people who are just like you just fucking
suck it up, Buttercup.
You dominate so hard in everything.
Well, no, not in everything. Here's the thing. So in cards, maybe I've told this on here before, but in order to play at the adult table in my family, you had to be able to shuffle, bridge, make all that shit. You couldn't be spilling the cards because that was wasting the older people's time. Right. Like I'm talking about my great grandpa who would like swear at you in German. And so
Scheißerkopf.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Schlat. So you know, I had to make sure I knew what was going on in the game. No fucking around. It was like legit. So I know what cards are out. I know like just because of that. And so card games normally I'm pretty good at because I know I can tell you basically probably what everyone has when we have 4 cards left.
Yeah.
Your dad and your stepmom, they're talking about this game Spelling Bee on New York Times. And they've both made it to Queen Bee, which is, that means you've gotten, it looks like a honeycomb. There's a middle letter that you have to use. And then you spell the rest of the word with the outer letters. Yeah. And they have gotten, in order to get Queen Bee, you have to get every single word available. And possible. It's 4 letter words or more. Every single word possible on this thing. Yeah. And they've both gotten it. And we're like, you want to play cards? And like, oh, do you have Scrabble? It's like, we're not fucking playing Scrabble with 2 queen bees. We're not doing that. I'm not doing that shit.
We're playing cornhole in the yard.
Yes.
Keep you away from letters.
Yes, absolutely. Get out here. We're going to relay race. And so, because it would be terrifying to play those 2 in Scrabble.
Yeah.
Or Boggle, or a word game in general.
Yeah, we'd have our shit pushed in.
We'd be fucking dominated.
Yeah.
And so we played a game that is like, I thought it would be good because it stimulates the mind. Right? It's like, you deal out all the cards, there's 4 people. The first round, every trick is worth 10 points. Then the next round, every heart is worth 10 points. Then the next round, the queens are worth 25 and that's it. And then the next round, the king of spades is worth 75 and that's it. So once the king of spades is out, the round's over. Yeah. And then you go, the last trick's worth 100 and then it's all of them. And all of them, I kind of thought they'd appreciate because it's a lot to keep track of. Yeah. But then words are much different than that.
Yeah.
And so you asked your dad afterwards, you were like, oh, did you have fun? He's like, that's the last time I'm going to play that game. Actually, he did this. He like motioned his hand to his neck like, that'll be enough.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed. But I look back and I'm like, yeah, maybe we should have thrown in a few more games that they've played before.
Yeah. And also, it probably isn't fun when you're so smart to play a game like that, because that game, regardless of who you are, makes you feel dumb the first couple times you play it.
Totally.
It's too much to keep track of.
Yeah, it's insane.
And so I'm sure he's sitting there like, oh, I'm getting all these points and I'm fucking smart. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So,
and points are bad in that game.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it was a blast. I got to meet my mom, and my mom again, right? She grew up in a quiet home. I grew up in a not quiet home, and my mom was the leader of the not quiet home. And so she's just like, fucking doing this, moving and shaking hands, kissing babies, yelling, laughing super loud.
She said, "Bite me" to Olivia at one point.
Yeah.
My dad thought that was hysterical.
Oh, yeah.
Just
She
talking
goes, "Bite
mad
me."
shit to her granddaughter.
Yeah, I mean, they have such a cool relationship, my mom and Olivia.
I love
It's
it.
awesome. They can kind of just say whatever they want to each other. But whatever they say, they know it's respectful.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but it was really cool. And then they got to meet my mom, my daughter, and my son and daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really neat because we played another game where your dad and my son jived so hard.
Yeah.
So as you know, Isaac and I, my son, we've never won that game.
Yeah.
And then we won that night because those two were like in each other's fucking brains.
Yeah.
And the only time we had a hiccup, it's when I interjected and was like, what about this? Yeah. And your dad was nice enough to go, all right, try it. And then I did, and it was wrong.
Well, Isaac was super high, and my dad's a musician, and I just feel like those things really go hand in hand.
Well, whatever it was. And then Isaac actually sent your dad a friend request
On Facebook.
the next day because,
so nice.
So it was super successful. I knew it would be. I never, ever thought it wouldn't be because Olivia wanted to make sure she was here for game night.
Yeah.
And then Isaac and Morgan came out, and they've been out here this year more than they were last year.
Yeah.
So it's been very neat.
It's been nice. We're having a very nice summer so
This has
far.
been great.
Yeah. Do you want to let the people know the exciting thing that happened on the TV today?
Oh, if you go on Netflix and search my name, the trailer to my special and the thumbnail comes up.
Oh my God, it was so exciting.
Which is pretty fun. I don't get too excited about things, but so obviously you typed in CHA and then it came up and then it's like with all these Chappelle specials and it's like in the middle. And I understand that that's whatever, but it was just cool to see all of that together in the same place.
Yeah.
So listen, I am excited. A lot of times I try to be cool, Mr. Cool and whatever, but I'm very excited about this because I think the special is good and I don't know. I'm into it.
Yes. July 16th on
people
Netflix. Mark your calendars, guys.
That's right.
Yee. Should we plug some tour dates and then do questions? I think
let's do it.
We'll have to do middle segment next
Yep,
time.
no problem.
Okay, guys. July 10th, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. July 11th through 13th, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. And then September through December, I am in Baltimore, Fort Collins, Phoenix, Omaha, Dania Beach, Providence, Austin, and San Antonio. KelseyCook.com for tickets.
All right. And then July 12th and 13th, I was told that this is going to be a cakewalk for me selling tickets in Detroit. The shows are not sold out. I am not happy. Whoa, man. But no. It's going to be very fun. The tickets are selling, but buy some more. And so that's July 12th and 13th. And then in September, I'm going to be in Spokane and Tampa.
Yes.
And then October, I'm going to be in Madison and somewhere else. And then November, I'm going to be in Denver and somewhere else. And then in December, I'm going to be in Salt Lake City and Las Vegas. And don't think that me forgetting those things means I don't want to go. I only book cities that I have the most fun in. And so I'm not sure. Oh, I'm going to be in Columbus, Ohio. That's the late October one. And then late November, where the fuck is that shit? Who knows? ChadDaniels.com/tour. So I hope to see you guys at a live show. Absolutely.
Yes. You're in Sacramento.
Sacramento. Oh, shit. So I'm in Cobb's in San Francisco on the 20th, and then 21st through the 23rd, I am in Sacramento at Punchline.
Yeah. We have the most professional tour date reads every time. We're always like, wait,
no doubt.
what? No. Yeah, no. Okay, yeah.
Well, listen, just know that we love doing stand-up. We love doing shows. Sometimes we just forget where we're going to be.
It's a lot of places. I need to read you an email about Detroit so you know what's going on.
Detroit Rock City, let's go.
They say, Chad, because I grew up in the Detroit area, I feel I need to explain something to you. Historically, the entire city of Detroit shuts down for the first 2 weeks of July. The auto manufacturers close and all of the workers get 2 weeks vacation during that time so they can do the model year changeover in the plants. It's literally called shutdown. Since you own a cabin, you'll understand that this is prime. Go up north to the cabin time for the general population of the city. Safe travels.
Ah, cool. Well, thanks for saying that. Yeah, summer's just a tough time anyways, especially in places that have a legitimate winter.
Yeah.
So Detroit obviously being one of those and all of Michigan. But I'm just looking forward to coming back because I had gone to Grand Rapids so many years in a row. And I know a lot of people that are going to be at these shows have made the drive. And it's about time I get my sweet ass there so they don't have to drive too far.
Yes.
But thank you for that.
We're going to get into other listener questions now. And as always, it is pretendproblemspodcast@gmail.com if you want to write into us and ask us for advice or give us your 2 cents on something we're talking about on the show or another listener's email. So this first one, you guys know we love follow-ups. This is a follow-up to last week's sexless marriage email.
Okay.
So they say, hey, here with a follow-up. I want to thank you both for putting my pretend problems into perspective. I wanted to write you with some corrections as well as answer your burning questions. To call our marriage sexless isn't exactly true, but our dry spell does date back to January of this year.
Okay.
When going that long without knocking boots, my mind starts to think the worst. To answer Chad's number one question about whether I'm willing to ride out a life without any sex, absolutely not. I do strongly believe that even though I am also my wife's ride or die, she also doesn't want to see our sex life die a long, lonely death. Question number 2, I do try to show romance when I can and moments of all the different kinds of love languages. We both have crazy work lives as I'm a nighttime local truck driver. Oh, you might have also been able to give us some thoughts on the truck driver situation.
Yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why she won't have sex with you. It's all making sense.
And she is a supervisor who works different shifts. I feel like I owe my wife a correction. She is currently not going through menopause, but she has expressed concerns about perimenopause coming in hot. Which, hearing about what hellfire this brings upon women, I might as well get comfortable with this dry spell. Over the last couple of years, my wife and I have endured stupid levels of stress, and I know that I need to get out of my head and realize the stress cloud will lift and this phase of our life will pass. And in the wise words scholar Chad Daniels once said, retired people fuck. And I will make it my life's mission to make sure that this is true. Thank you both so much for helping me with the advice, and hopefully you both venture north someday. Canada could sure use comedians such as yourselves these days. Well, thank you for that follow-up.
That's really nice. I'd like to I'm not even about this. Well, kind of about this, but
okay.
When we started this and we decided we were going to do questions, I was scared and I thought I was going to hate it. Mm-hmm. And I love it so much. And not because of what's going out. It's what's coming in.
Yeah.
This is super respectful, just a normal conversation.
Yeah.
And then also, I think I could be just straight buds with this dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the kind of questions we get and then the responses back, even when I'm, I remember a little bit of what I was saying and I was being a total shit brain. And just the fact that this guy comes back with this is like, this is really nice to do. I look forward to doing this now.
Definitely, me too. And then we got a couple other great emails about that topic in response to him. So this next one is titled Dry Spell Follow-Up. They say, big fans of both of you and love the podcast. I had a similar situation to the dry spell emailer. 2 kids, ride or die wife, late 30s, long dry spell. First, to answer Chad, if sex was completely off the table, then yes, we would still be married when I die. Sex is only a piece of our relationship, and there are so many things that can take sex off the table: illness, hormones, stress, etc. If the decision to simply not have sex was made by either of us, that may cause problems, but sex by itself isn't a deal breaker. Now on to Mr. Dry Spell. Here's what I did. We had almost gone a year, then COVID struck and date nights could no longer be dinner and a movie. We could find restaurants to eat at, but theaters were off the table. So we booked a hotel room for one night. After dinner, we went to the hotel with our Amazon Fire Stick, maybe also name for a sex toy, brought popcorn and candy from home, and watched a movie in bed together. The intimacy of being in the same bed, snuggling up, really got my wife going. Because we have kids and don't like to leave them overnight, we usually come home that same night. Yes, this isn't a cheap option, and I understand that it may not be for everyone. Without wanting to make my wife seem like a prostitute, I do see this as an investment into our relationship because it works.
Leave the money on the dresser.
Put the lotion in the basket. Oh, by the way, my wife also had early menopause, and while it was initially tough, it's actually unlocked greater experiences because accidental pregnancies are completely off the table now. Needless to say, we do date nights every 2 to 3 months where we go get a nice dinner and find a hotel to enjoy a movie and ourselves. We don't necessarily have sex every time, and that is okay. It can't turn into an obligation again. And because of this, my wife has opened up more about her wants and desires. And yes, we have sex more often than just 2 to 3 months. It's reawakened that part of our life. Anyway, I hope this helps. Definitely an out-of-the-box situation, but for us, it worked. Thanks, Kelsey and Chad, for keeping us all smiling. Thank you.
That's very nice of you. And it definitely is an out-of-the-box situation. Boom. That felt good. I will that's so dumb. I will tell you, well, thanks for writing in and letting everyone know. Do you guys think that you're not necessarily having a ton of sex with your wives because it's the same woman? You're married to the same woman? She's living secret lives?
Yeah, you might want to, you guys should email us, tell us what her name is.
Early menopause, 30s, this seems familiar. Well, that's great. By the way to go. And mad respect for people that are like, you know what? Mm-hmm. Sex is one aspect. Mm-hmm. And if it was someone just said, I'm choosing not to, but realizing the stress, like you and I had that conversation early on where I think I've done a pretty good job of working on this. But when we started dating, I thought, I just assumed everything was because of me. Right? So if we, weren't being physical for a while, I'd be like, oh, it's because I'm getting fatter or something like that. Yeah. And then one day you just, I don't know if you'd had enough or if you're just like, he needs to hear this, but you're like, there are so many things going on. Like, my mom's going through this stuff. I have this thing in my career. I'm thinking about this. I'm having these pains. I'm figuring this out. Mm-hmm. And then, you hear that and you go, oh, because I think my whole life I've just projected those things back onto myself. Mm-hmm. And so to hear you say that was really eye-opening. And obviously this guy's light years ahead of me, but.
Yeah. And I get that, that temptation to want to turn it inward and be like, oh, fuck, it's something I'm doing.
But I think that about everything. Yeah. Too. So that's helped across the board.
Yeah, for sure. And I think women especially, just in the category of sex, our hormones are such motherfuckers. It's like, it is crazy how within the cycle every month, it's like every week is a different thing going on in your body. The levels change constantly, not to mention if you are on the pill or IUD, any of these things that then affect that. It's just like, it's such a pain in the ass to feel physically like you are in the right space for that. And then not to mention whatever else is going on in your life that could be causing stress. So yeah, I wanted to do one more about this particular thing, and I'll just kind of condense it. But it's again somebody who wrote in about that topic. They say, hey, Farticus here. The guy who, good old Farticus. Hello again. I heard the question from the guy who was afraid of ending up in a sexless marriage. First, let me state my credentials. My wife and I have been together for 30 years. Also seen some crazy farts, apparently, according to when you wrote in, whenever that was. We have been through job changes, career changes, cross-country moves. How do you deal with two people with dramatically different sex drives? You have to work that out. Talk to her about scheduling sex. So this is always like a pretty divisive topic, right? Right.
Because it takes the romance out of it, clearly.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I got to go punch in to get pounded. Nobody wants that.
Punch in to punch in. Yeah, they say, now scheduling sex may seem like somebody, mainly her, is obligated to have sex. But in every marriage, there are things that have to get done and somebody has to do it. That being said, scheduled sex / obligatory sex doesn't have to be treated like scheduled sex. If Tuesday night is on the calendar, you can still wine and dine like it's the first time you've been able to get a sitter in months. You find that thing that she likes and you do it, and you do it well. There's a caveat. Nobody should be forced into anything, but if she's as ride or die as you, she'll appreciate the effort and go along. And then there's some other kind of similar things after that. But yeah, thank you. That is great advice. And I know that this scheduling sex thing isn't for everybody, but if you're listening and you are in a dry spell and you haven't tried that, I mean, can't hurt to give it a try and see if it's something that clicks for you.
Right. And just remember, when we read these emails from listeners, everybody's just doing their burst. So
they're doing their burst.
Everybody's doing their burst.
They're throwing out, hey, this worked for us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've never done that. Well, we don't ever write it in a planner, but sometimes we're like,
sometimes
night?
we're like, tonight's the night or tomorrow night's the night.
Yeah.
Because we're like, we have a bunch of plans tonight. And here's the thing. I don't like to fuck after I eat. Mm-hmm. Excuse my language. But I don't. I feel bloated. And now who knows? Maybe it's because I've been drinking cow's milk. Whatever. But I don't like to because I feel bloated and I don't feel like I'm moving. I don't feel like I look pretty. And it's true.
You always look pretty.
And then, and then there are other times where it's like, I'm like, let's go before we eat.
Yeah.
And then you have your metabolism and you're like, I can't. I'll perish in the act of lovemaking. I will cease to exist.
Yep.
And so then we're like, all right, let's eat. And then now that's off the table afterwards. But then we just go, let's just sit down and watch a fucking show. And then tomorrow, let's make it happen.
Yeah. That is hard. It's like, the email before was talking about, what do you do if your sex drives are different? And it's also like, what do you do if like your metabolism and eating styles are different? Because it's like, if I start to get hungry, I'm like, well, I got to eat right now or else I'm going to feel like I'm going to pass out. And you don't want to eat before we have sex. So yeah, there are some times where we're like, okay, well, let's figure this out.
I mean, listen, I'm going to tell you something. I have some body stuff. Everyone that listens knows that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I can't have sex after I eat. The lights have to be almost completely off. One time you left the closet light on and I had to shut the door halfway. It's just like, listen, I know it's a lot of shit, but sometimes we just have to figure it out to make sure we're doing sex.
To make sure we're doing the sex. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't feel like it takes the romance out of it actually
I don't think so either.
Be like, hey, tonight or tomorrow, let's make it happen. But yeah. Okay, I wanted to read one of the truck driver emails. Okay. There were so many, but just one that, I think condensed everything. Okay, hold on. Chad's going to read it because I keep messing up.
Hey, what's up, Chad and Kelsey? I've been a fan of Chad's forever and missed him getting to come to Springfield because I was taking my son to basic training. But to get to the reason of my email, for the last 19 years, I have been a truck driver, and that truck should have never come over. He could have waited 2 seconds because where you guys are driving a 10-foot vehicle, he's got a 113-foot vehicle, which sucks. The problem, crappy drivers like him make the rest of us look bad. But sorry about the long email. I have no pretend problems. I got a wonderful wife who I've been married to for 19 years. And like I said, I have a son who is graduating next year. Keep doing what you're doing. I love the show. P.S. Kelsey, I totally get why you're scared. I tend to wet my pants too. And when I see a semi coming over and I'm in a semi.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. So thank you for doing that. And shout out to your boy. That's awesome.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Yep. But yeah, so many emails like that. A lot of people who were like, I was so ready. One guy, I was so ready to blame Chad for whatever was happening between you guys and that big truck on the way back from the cabin. But nope, that guy didn't care. So just like lots of people on your side.
Well, that's nice. So I mean, I appreciate people being on my side. Mm-hmm. But again, I will reiterate, it's like, you also have to assume, it's like when teachers used to say, eyes on your own paper. I trust you. I just don't trust your neighbor.
Right.
It's that thing on the road. It's like you just unfortunately have to assume everybody's a dip fuck that's driving because you have to protect yourself. And so I am just over the moon thrilled that we were able to come out of it unscathed and just like everybody's fine.
Totally.
That's the big win.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to do one more. This one is titled Sex and SIBO. What more could you want? I love it. They say, hi, Kelsey and Chad. I have a sex question and info about SIBO since Kelsey asked. What more could you want in a listener email? Am I right? It's true. I'll start with a sex question. I'm a 24-year-old female who has never had an orgasm or experienced sexual pleasure because of suspected nerve damage from being a lifelong competitive cyclist. In comedic terms, my clit feels like a game of operation where I either feel nothing at all or a shock of oversensitivity. Oh my God. I am so sorry. But that's, I mean, I'm laughing because you made it a funny thing, not laughing at your
This
pain.
reminds me, when we got the Ring doorbell,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't connecting on the right thing. So you almost had to like move it over a little bit with your thumb and then press it down and sideways.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you'd get it to ring. Otherwise, the ringer broke that one time, remember?
Yeah.
And it just was fucking like until I had to shut the power off. And then other times it wouldn't ring. So this feels like maybe you have a ring.
Doorbell clit?
A ringlet?
A wrinklet.
Oh.
Sounds like a wrinkly clit. I don't like any of that. Okay.
Nope.
I'm in the process of getting an MRI to identify any nerve issues.
You're sending this email while you're getting an MRI? You're supposed to be still. This is not going to help.
As gynos and pelvic specialists have ruled out all other causes. Of course, my fear is that the MRI will reveal nothing and I will be left feeling helpless and like I'm missing out on a big part of life with the man I love. Bless my boyfriend, who says this does not change his satisfaction with sex, but not so nice exes have told me this made them feel less connected to me. I can't help but wonder if he secretly feels let down. I would love to hear how you guys would approach this if you were in our shoes. For the record, we are extremely affectionate with one another, and my boyfriend always wants to have sex, lol. But yet, I still feel like less of a woman. How can I boost my confidence if nothing changes and make sure my boyfriend feels satisfied if he can't make me oh? Oh, man. Let's pause there and answer that before we get to the SIBO stuff. Because First of all, I'm curious if you have ever heard of Remy Casimir's podcast called How Come? Because she also could not have an orgasm, started a podcast about not being able to have an orgasm and kind of like her journey trying to figure it out, and was finally able to have one.
Interesting.
And I think now is like all good to go.
Yeah.
So I would look up How Come if you haven't yet, because she might be able to give you some great tips and tricks and advice.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And then I was going to wonder, have you ever heard of anal? Not a podcast. The actual act of sex in the butthole. Because it's also an erogenous zone. And just letting you know, I mean, unless you were cycling and wiping your butt on the carpet like a dog, maybe that's an option. And I'm not trying to be crass, and I'm not trying to make fun of what's going on here. I'm being serious. I'm just trying to do it in a funny way. But
yeah,
I mean, that also maybe. But the fact that you found a dude that is like into it and still feels connected and all that stuff, good for you. I mean,
yeah,
I love how you said not so nice exes, because I know a woman who I don't know like the reason, but also cannot orgasm. Feels nothing. And you know, I've talked to her about it. I've talked to her boyfriends about it. And some of the guys are like, yeah, it doesn't, whatever. And then some of the other guys are like, well, I'm still there with her physically. And we're like looking into each other's eyes and whatever else. So I think you got a winner with the guy you're with right now.
Yeah. I'm sorry that you've dealt with that in the past. I would also look up Ask Goody, Goody, on Instagram. We had her on my previous podcast, Self Helpless, which is still a great podcast. My friend Delaney still hosts it. You can go listen to that episode, actually. And we also had another sex expert on in the last like year-ish. But both of them talk about how there are so many erogenous zones on your body that you can be having orgasms from other places that would not have become, you know, endured nerve damage. I mean, that's what you're talking about with anal, obviously. But like there are even other places besides that if anal is not your thing.
It's like when you know blind people, they can hear better. It's like that.
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden your earlobe is like, what the fuck? Is this my clit? Oh, I think it might be. the Friends episode where they're talking about the number of erogenous zones, and there's 7 of them, and they go, so you just have to go back and forth and find the right combination.
Yeah.
And Monica is like 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 4, 5, 1, 1, 2, 3, 6, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 4, 7, 7, 7, 7. It's a very funny episode. But there are tons of spots on the body that work.
Yeah. And I would that's so hard to just tell somebody, oh, be confident, because you're asking, how can I boost my confidence if nothing changes? And I think I would really trust your boyfriend, what he's saying. If he feels satisfied and happy, like, it does sound like you've got a winner. So I would try to not worry about if he's happy. It sounds like he is, and that he does feel connected to you. And as long as you feel happy and feel good about yourself, that is what matters. And I think that sort of confidence in the bedroom is like the sexiest thing that you could bring into it, not necessarily having orgasms.
I'd like to say 2 things. Number 1, I almost passed out fake coming just a little bit ago. And
you really went for it.
Yeah, I did go for it.
That's
exactly what the scene was like, though.
Yeah.
And number 2, you know how when you're a kid and they have like Easter egg hunts and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And it's like you're doing it, it's exciting while you're doing it, and then you finally find the Easter egg and you're like, God damn it, and you hold it up, you're so proud of yourself. What if you and your boyfriend went on like an exploratory search of your body for these extra erogenous zones, right? Just like lick a spot, like when people are scuba diving for gold, they set a grid on the bottom of the ocean and they cross it off on a map. Maybe that's what you do. Grid your body up. Have him lick everywhere. Take a feather, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. And in that way, you're going to know like what really makes you feel good anyways.
Yeah.
Because I will tell you, like the knuckle hair, right, on you, that when it touches my back, I don't have back hair. I have
knuckle hair on me make me sound like I'm a fucking Sasquatch.
No, that's not what I mean. Everyone has hair, though. You have tiny little hairs.
Yeah.
And I have tiny hairs on my back. I don't have a hairy back.
Yeah.
And when those touch, it's like, God damn, I don't know. We found something there, because my left ear starts ringing. And I don't know what that's. I start fucking hitting my foot on the ground like a dog getting scratched. So I think make it a fun thing, make it an adventure. And I hope the MRI tells you something that will obviously help more than my stupid advice, but
your advice is great. So yeah, we hope that's helpful. And then you wrote a couple things about SIBO. If you guys don't remember, I got diagnosed with SIBO, which is small intestine bacterial overgrowth. I've done a round of
God, you're sexy.
Thank you so much.
Say it again.
Small intestine bacterial overgrowth.
Oh, fuck. This is better than my back hair.
I almost shit my pants every day. I finished a round of antibiotics and I started a second round, which goes against what you said in your email to do. You said I would not recommend antibiotics as that can make it worse long term and only resolve it temporarily. But this was interesting. She says many people get SIBO after food poisoning or it makes it worse, which is what happened to me. I had 2 rounds of food poisoning late last year, and I do feel like my symptoms got way worse after that.
Interesting.
So interesting. So anyway, I'm a little late, I think, to do the natural route because I'm on the antibiotics now. But if it doesn't resolve, I will totally look into the natural supplements you recommended for me. So thank you. It's fucking hard. Yeah. It's not fun trying to get this figured out. But anyway, I really appreciate the advice you gave me on that. So yeah. Oh, we did it.
We're done?
We're done.
Oh, great.
We're over an hour.
Well, I think thanks again for writing in. It's always fun. And we wish everybody, obviously, the best of luck in all their endeavors, even though we like to fuck around and stuff like that. We wish you the best.
We hope you have a happy 4th of July tomorrow. And also, our Patreon launches next week, guys. So get ready. We'll have some mini bonus episodes.
Sweet.
And some big bonus episodes and all kinds of fun perks. So just be ready for that. Patreon coming soon.
Coming soon.
Okay. Talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.